Hey guys, Hallie, we keep it dirty off-road. Today we're going to do an update on the chase rack. We're up to version 3, version 4. I don't know, I stopped counting. We're going to go into the rack today. Today I wanted to go over our brand new rack that we just had built by the guys down at RPG. This is very much a custom chase rack. It's to basically take all the lessons learned that we've had from the last couple of years of building this rack. Now, if you've been following my build on Instagram, I think this is the third version of this rack. The first version was just a rack mounted on the rails with 2 tabs. Second version was a rack mounted completely from end to end on the rails. And then this is the last version where we took it from a sports bar that's mounted on the rails and actually made a full-on custom chase rack out of it. Why'd we go through 3 different versions? Well, it's easy. First version, cracked the bed. First version, the bed wasn't strong enough, it just cracked it right the bed. It wasn't really strong enough to deal with the weight. Second version, we had it go from end to end, basically spread the weight over the whole top of the rail. The whole point of that was we still wanted to be able to use a bed cover so that our stuff didn't get stolen. Well, unfortunately, instead of just localizing the problem to just 2 sections, it spread the load across the whole thing, and now the whole bed started sinking down. Yeah, it was a big problem. So this right here is the third version where we took all the weight completely off the bed and we're putting it specifically on the actual frame through the bed bolts. Now, one of the first things you're going to note is we kept our original sports bar look in the rack. This was kind of important for us as our signature look for this truck, so we wanted to keep it in place. Right off the bat, some of you guys are going to notice, why is this gap so big? Well, this bed moves a lot. I mean, way more than we all expected it to, especially from that first time out when we lawn darted. I mean, the whole thing flexed to the point that it moved the rack and it hit our rear light. So we wanted to make sure that the new rack didn't have any possibility of touching the bed itself, because we know this is going to move a lot. Second, you'll see we still have our light bar. It's still a manual fixed mount light bar. We didn't want to go with an automatic one with an electronic bar arm going up and down for reliability, because we know that's going to break on the trails. Next thing we did is, because this is a chase rack setup, we extended the whole rack all the way to the back. So this rack is sitting on all 6 bed bolts of the truck, distributing all the weight on directly to the frame. And on top of that, it's also supporting the rear. The back of these trucks is extremely, extremely weak. It doesn't matter if it's the aluminum bed or if it's the steel bed. There's a lot of flex in here, and eventually it will fall apart. That's nuts, dude.
Gloves are all broken. You know what? I might have a broken bed, but I don't have a Honda Civic for a motor.
That's okay, man. You can ride slower on the trails. So with this setup, we wanted to add that extra bed support. Now notice how this is a full end-to-end bed support. Now that was important to me. I've seen a lot of solutions out there that just take care of the corner. I wanted end-to-end, brand new truck. I wanted to really save this as much as I could. We have our toolbox mounted on here, all the way supported on the actual frame itself as well. and we have it held down by 3 straps. 2 straps that hold it forward and 1 strap that holds it over the top. Now this solution is not quite working out well for us right now, so we're going to update that as we go forward. Currently, the toolbox holds all of our tools, our straps, and our recovery boards. And yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that the recovery boards are in there. I'll tell you why here in a little bit, but let's go through the other features of the rack. Yeah, as you can see, our toolbox isn't holding up too well. Baja really destroyed it. It wasn't really designed for all the abuse. Now, at its base, this rack is RPG's RST18 bed cage with the recovery rack. So that's what we use as the base. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel here. We wanted to integrate something we may end up using in the future. So you still have both of your spare tire mounts, you have a jack mount, and you have a way to hold the gas cans. We added our power tank mount, and if you guys notice, our power tank is actually supported from the bottom. That's kind of important when it comes to these kind of power tanks. You need to support the weight all the way down at the bottom. And then we also put our fire extinguisher back here. Now, we also added a couple tabs. Some of these tabs we already had, right? We already have our whip mount tabs that are right there. We actually added an extra set back here because I actually want to be able to have the option to move between the 2 mounts. We're actually thinking we're going to probably end up running our buggy whips towards the back more. This tab right here is for the light, so when that thing folds up, it goes into there. It has a mounting point for our antenna. Yeah, our antenna is eventually going to go back in there. Then it has all the hooks and everything we need to hold on to the tires. And we're just using speed traps to hold these on. Now, there's a key thing with these speed straps when you put them like this. They don't actually hold unless that ring is at its highest point as it can be on the tire. The higher it is, the better hold it's going to have. All right, so if you guys look at the tank in the back, we actually cut the bottom out. Normally, that's like it is in the front, and the gas can sit above the actual jack. We didn't want that because if you look, it's going to actually block our view in the back of the truck. So we wanted to change that a little bit. We had the RPG guys cut out the bottom so we could put the gas tank all the way down, and we're actually thinking of doing it for the front one as well, so we can have 2 tanks and have them both underneath and not in view. Now, that is going to cause some problems with our jack, and that's one of the problems we're actually facing right now. We wanted to use a new jack mount. We had the old jack mount on here. It worked okay, but the jack actually moved too much, so we went down to the Pro Eco guys and got ourselves the new jack mount. Problem is this thing sticks out too far when installed. That right there is the normal install, how we were gonna do it. Bars stick out way too much. We're gonna step on that. There's not that much strength in that, so that's gonna break. The other option is to slide it forward, but look at that. If we slide it forward, there's not enough space. It still doesn't make it all the way in. Trying to get this to slide underneath this doesn't actually fit through this opening. Yeah, it's heavy. We have to turn it sideways just to get it to fit, and the wheels don't fit. So that's another reason why going underneath is not necessarily an option for us. It means having to take a handle off and 2 of the wheels off. This thing's already heavy enough. Having to take parts off of it is going to make it more difficult for us. So we had an idea about mounting this vertically. Vertical solution, make it easier to handle the jack. I need to be smart with all the space back here. If you guys look, it's not that much space back here. Very little, actually. So I need to be very smart with how I set everything up. So I want to actually mount this vertically, and we need to have something fab. Now, we approached the RPG guys about doing this. They're not too keen on doing a vertical jack mount. So we're going to be going to HM Racing here down in Murrieta. We already talked to Kevin, who's the owner of HM Racing, showed him the idea of what we want to do, and he's going to fab us up a bracket to actually hold that in place. So I can't wait to get that going. And to match, we're also going to cut out the back of this so that we can do both gas cans, not any of the view being blocked. Now, the rack is not done. The way you see it right now, it's still not done. We had it built about 6 weeks ago, and the goal was to build it, put it on the truck, and do some testing with it. It still needs to be powder coated. Right now, it just has a very quick, rattle can paint job on it, and we're still missing a couple pieces. Over here on this section, we're working with RPG on making a new product that uses the box link brackets to hold your recovery boards on there. There's not too many recovery board options out there, so we're using the truck to have them make a very simple bar that'll work with basically any type of recovery boards out there and allow you to mount it off to the side. So that'll work whether you have this chase rack or not. And that's just one of the products that we're hoping to bring out for the community through RPG. There are a bunch of other stuff that still has to be done on the rack. Unfortunately, the timing's just been awful. The whole COVID thing kind of ruined a lot of our plans, and we haven't been able to get back to RPG in order to do a lot of the work. They've just been, I think they're in a skeleton crew, and they've just been too busy, and we haven't been able to get back in there to finish off the rack. So we are going to be going to HM Racing and have them help us finish off the wreck. A couple things we're going to do. We're going to fill in the little holes that we have on the sides. We have 2 holes on each side. Get those filled in really quick. And then I also want to have some plates made for the sides of the rack. We were going to work with RPG on those, but again, a little too busy, so we're going to work with HM to get those done and do any other adjustments that the rack needs. Hopefully in the coming weeks we'll be able to show you guys our recovery board mount. RPG should be almost done with it, so hopefully in a couple of weeks that'll be out. We'll show it to you guys, and if you guys like it, you can order a set from RPG. We're also going to be trying to work with other companies like HM Racing on some of the other ideas we had for the truck. We've already had some initial conversations with them. They seem very excited about some of the ideas we had. Some of it they're already doing, which is kind of cool. And they're bringing out a ton of new products for the Raptor here pretty soon. So hopefully we'll be able to show you guys those here too as we work with the Raptor Junkies crews to release that. I wish the rack was done, but I can tell you this. In the last 6 weeks I've had this thing has been awesome. It's super strong. It's put up with the Baja whoops, which I'm very surprised that it did without a single issue. All we got to do now is just finish it, right? We're going to move the buggy whips, hopefully get our recovery board mounts, get it all fully tested, get everything mounted on there, and then once it's all done, we're going to powder coat it and really show it off. We also need to get some new ideas for our way to carry tools in the back. We're probably going to end up with a couple Pelican cases or something strong that we can mount on there and maybe make it a little bit more modular instead of my toolbox, because that toolbox hasn't really stood up to the damage we've done. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys put any questions or comments below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.